All right. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It is Sunday, September 10th, and my name is Alex, and we are talking today about mental health. So I recently, in some of my reading with a lot of the holistic health and naturopathic publications that I follow, and one of the things that has just intrigued me is the rise in mental health issues for people around the United States. And I just thought, I'm really interested in why that's happening. And so I decided to kind of delve into that a little bit more and came across some really interesting information. So I wanted to share some of that with you. And of course, I want to share how eating properly and eating the right things can actually help with reducing the devastating effects that mental health can bring. So before I get started, I've got some housekeeping things, but can everyone just show me by means of a thumbs up if they can hear me okay? Everyone can hear me? Okay, awesome. Sometimes my speaker doesn't do a good job, and I have an external speaker and I haven't hooked it up yet. So, okay, good. Thank you. Whoever's thumb that is in Polly's screen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's get to a few housekeeping things first of all. September 11th tomorrow to September 17th, there is free enrollment. So if you have friends or family or hairdressers or mail carriers that have indicated interest in Isagenix in the past, it's a great time to give them that extra little boost and let them know that there's free enrollment with 150 BV order. It doesn't have to be a system, but as long as it's 150 BV order, and of course, if it is a system, you'll get a PIB or a PIR for that. Isagenix is not posting that tomorrow out of respect for it being September 11th. So if you do choose to let people know about it or advertise it on your page, just be sensitive to the fact that the company's not advertising it tomorrow. They will start on Tuesday the 12th. Next, I also wanted to make sure that everybody knew this because I was talking to some people this week and they did not know that you get 100 points for the championship challenge when you register for both NYKO and Celebration. So if you are not registered yet, get registered because that's 100 points right off the bat. That's not the only reason to register, but that's certainly a great reason to register for it. And we would certainly love to have you there. So do look into that 100 points for NYKO and Celebration. On that note, if you are looking to do some improving of your product knowledge or mindset training or personal growth, either by yourself or with a spouse or a friend, isagenixevents.com is where you go to learn about what the next events coming near you are. You'll find information about Celebration, NYKO, but then also the other two of the 4 core events, which is Isagenix University and University in Action. And I highly recommend that you get to each of those at least once in your Isagenix career. So definitely check those out. And then you'll also find information for the Super Saturdays, which are the much more local, usually smaller regional run events. And those are great too. I've been to a few of those. The last thing, actually, no, it's not the last thing, second last thing, there have been some changes made to HHP. If you're not familiar with those, there is a video in ISA for Wealth that Cindy Walter did with some of the admins for the HHP group that go over the changes that were made, why they were made, how to use HHP the most effectively right now for both for coaching your team and also for introducing brand new prospects to Isagenix. And then the last thing is November 1st is the next Global Cleanse Day. So August 23rd, we had our first big Global Cleanse Day. It was a huge success, and Isagenix said, let's do it again. So they have a campaign running right now, which is #CleanseDayWednesday. If you do weekly cleansing, they're doing it on Wednesdays as a company, but November 1st is the next Global Cleanse Day. So that's an exciting thing to be a part of and to get people on board with. So if you haven't cleansed in a while, that's a good thing to hop on board for. Don't wait till November 1st though. So that is all the housekeeping things that I have. So on that note, let's dive into really what I wanted to talk about today, which is eating for mental health. And the reason, like I said, this came about is I kept seeing kind of this rise, this trend in mental health issues. We are a nation that right now has the highest amount of children and adults that are highly dependent on psychotropic drugs and ADHD and ADD, and then right up to older people with schizophrenia and dementia and Alzheimer's and all these things. And we're just seeing this rise. And I think there's a school of thought of people that think that it's just because we're getting better at diagnosing this stuff. And I think that that's true. I think once upon a time, anybody that exhibited signs of those types of things was just put in an asylum or in a sanatorium. And now we're getting better about removing the stigma around mental health or a lack thereof, and helping people to get the help they need. But one of the things that's often neglected, and that's actually getting a lot of buzz right now in the naturopathic industry, is how to eat for mental health. And, we certainly understand the concept of eating for better weight control, for clearer skin, for energy. But I don't think that the idea of eating for mental health is something that we really ever talk about. And the interesting thing is there's a lot of ways that you can be eating for mental health. And what's also interesting about that is when you're talking to people that perhaps have psychiatric issues that run in the family, it's great to have to be able to corner that part of the market and say, listen, there are some very real things that you can be doing to affect your mental health and the mental health of others. And can I tell you a little bit about that? And can I tell you how eating and changing, your nutrition can help contribute to that? I am not a medical doctor. I want to put that disclaimer out there right now. And I'm not diagnosing or anything, but I am just giving you some tools from some studies that have been done that I've read that have shown changes in the mental health of people that go through some of these types of illnesses, and that have shown improvement by using some of this supplementation. So let's just dive right in right now. So the first thing that I want to talk about is fatty acids. And some of you may have seen that ridiculous article that came out a couple of weeks ago from a very large and well-credited medical institution saying that coconut oil was bad for you, and that it was contributing to the rise of heart disease, and that saturated fat was bad for you. And of course, all saturated fats are not created equal. So the first thing that I found really interesting when I was doing my research was that our brains are 60% fat. 60% fat. So they require a diet rich in fatty acids to maintain the integrity of the cell walls. And when I say that they're 60% fat, that means that the cells in the brains are 60% fat, made up of 60% fat. So what happens is fat embeds itself in our brain and makes sure that all of the nerves and circuitry is all working properly. When you look at the neurons, which is what carries all of the chemical messages between your brains, when you look at the neurons of people that have Lou Gehrig's disease or Alzheimer's or multiple sclerosis, one of the things you see is the fatty sheath that wraps those neurons, which is called your myelin sheath, is gone or is degrading. And so those chemical signals that may tell your hand to open and close or your eyes to blink, those signals get jumbled and garbled, which is one of the reasons that people shake when they have things like Parkinson's and whatnot. And so it's really important that those fatty acids are maintained in the brain. Chronic schizophrenics actually show higher levels of oxidative stress and cell membrane breakdown when lower levels of fatty acids are present in their brain. So the observation is from some very leading medical journals is that omega-3 supplementation can actually reduce the incidence and severity of psychosis. So where are we going to get that? Well, fish is a great source of those omega-3s, but when we're talking about isogenics, and again, we want to always bring this back to how can our products be helping us and helping others? Maybe this is something that you struggle with in your family. Maybe it's something you struggle with yourself or a spouse or a grandparent or a parent. So omegas are a fantastic source of healthy fatty acids, and you can buy the omegas separately. I'm a big proponent of our supplements. The Complete Essentials have omegas in them as well. And then if you're looking from a food standpoint, things like fish, walnuts, flax are all really great sources. So obviously I'm a big proponent of getting your supplementation from multiple sources, both from, pill supplementation and also from whole foods. And so it's something that you can easily, if you're taking the complete essentials every day, great, you're getting your fatty, your omegas. But if you do have somebody who struggles with mental health, definitely upping their omegas is a great idea. And again, not a doctor, just going based on the clinical research that I've done. So the next kind of supplementation that is really beneficial for mental health is the addition of niacin, or your B vitamins. And B vitamins get a lot of buzz in holistic medicine, and rightfully so. There's a ton of amazing metabolic processes that B vitamins contribute to. So everyone requires a certain level of niacin, which is vitamin B3, and it's called vitamin B3 because it was actually the third B vitamin that was discovered. But some people with things like schizophrenia, again, we're going back to schizophrenia, I promise we're talking about other things too, they might not only be niacin deficient, they may be niacin dependent, which means they need a higher than average dose. Now, the cool thing about niacin is that it actually is absorbed better with the addition of vitamin C. So when I'm talking about vitamin C, I'm talking large amounts of vitamin C, like up in the thousands of milligrams of vitamin C. And, you can talk offline with a nutritionist or a doctor about what it means to high dose with vitamin C, or let me know. I've got a great video that I can send out about it. But vitamin C is the body's most important antioxidant. So vitamin C prevents the oxidation or the breakdown of adrenaline to dangerous substances in the body, which can cause psychotic behavior. So again, may not be something that you struggle with, but all you need to know is that those B vitamins and that vitamin C is going to be great for brain health, and great for a lot of other things too: immunity, energy, blood flow. But strictly talking about mental health here, those B vitamins are going to be hugely beneficial. So some sources of those B vitamins are things like hydrate. Our hydrate is amazing. It actually has a vitamin C and a vitamin B complex, which I didn't know for the longest time until I picked up a package one day and I said, oh my gosh, this isn't just an electrolyte drink with sodium and potassium. There's B vitamins and C in there as well. So those are amazing. That's an amazing source, and you wouldn't even know. Also, our C Light, which is also in the Complete Essentials vitamin packets. But if you're wanting to take in additional vitamin C, C Light is a great one as well. And then some additional B vitamins. B9, which is folate. 80% of your folate needs for the day are in one serving of shake. B6, 60% of your RDA is found in our shakes. And then B12, again, these are all your necessary B vitamins, 200% are found in our shakes. So you're getting your B3, your B9, your B6, your B12, all in our shakes. In addition to that, not just on shake days, but if you're cleansing, Cleanse for Life has B6 and B12, and it has greater than 200% of your RDA. Niacin, also known as B3, is also in the Cleanse for Life and the shakes too. So you're getting all of the necessary B vitamins in cleanse and in shakes. So that's amazing. You may look at the nutrition info of our shakes and just say, wow, look at all this amazing stuff in there. But just know that your B vitamins, your omegas, your vitamin C are all going to be great contributors for your mental health. And then the omegas coming from your complete essential vitamins are also going to contribute for mental health. So the next essential supplement or micronutrient is zinc. And you wouldn't think that really that zinc would be important in our body, but it's hard to live in this world without exposure to heavy metals. And heavy metals are actually one of the biggest culprits for brain degradation and brain cell degradation in humans, because we just have heavy metals in everything. We have, copper in our water pipes. We have it in medicines. We have it in vaccines. We have it in our food. And there's a certain amount that's okay that your body is able to safely detoxify. But there are times when some of those heavy metals get stored straight to the brain. And so you really want to be eating or be doing things to help your body detoxify itself of those things. And zinc is actually one of those that helps with that. And so zinc is found in our shakes. you actually get 45% in 1 serving of shakes. So in 2 servings of shakes, you're almost getting 100% of your RDA. You can also find it in Isommune. And I don't know if you've ever used Isommune, but it's a spray, and it's actually, you would think by the name that it's only something that you use when you're sick, because by the name Isommune. I actually give my kids a couple sprays in their mouth every single day on the way to school. Every single day. And you've got zinc in Isommune. So you don't have to take it just when you're sick. You can actually also take it, as a spray in the morning, and then you have it in your shakes as well. And then some food sources are like spinach, beef, kidney beans, pumpkin seeds. So, and then you can always Google more sources of zinc. So those are important as well. So if we break down kind of the top things that people can be doing to have ideal mental health, we've got eating more healthy fats, which are, good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. You've got your fish, your sardines, your anchovies. Most people don't want to eat those, so make it really easy on yourself and get a great, deep sea cold water omega-3, free of PCBs, and our omegas really fit the bill for that. So that's an awesome thing. Another thing, believe it or not, that is recommended this is an external study, this has nothing to do with Isagenix, is to get more protein. And the reasoning behind that is that a healthy brain actually depends on the steady creation of neurotransmitters, and those are those connections in your brain that are helping you constantly stay sharp and stay alert and stay focused and be able to respond to stimuli in the outside world. So the basic building blocks for these neurotransmitters are amino acids, and amino acids are going to come from the protein in our diet. So you really want to make sure you're getting a high quality protein, like grass-fed meats, like undenatured whey, like organic dairy and beans and eggs and that sort of thing. So really, really important. The American diet is not heavily protein-based, and so you really need the protein to feed those neurotransmitters the amino acids that they need. So another thing that really helps with brain health is to avoid sugar highs. Okay, the brain has actually, believe it or not, a really enormous need for glucose. And our blood supplies this as it circulates through the brain. Now, the supply of glucose needs to be slow and steady. That's where it's key. That's one of the things that we talk about a lot at Isagenix, is having your 5 meals a day, your 3 bigger meals and your 2 mini meals, and eating every few hours, is because you really need to keep that sugar supply slow and steady without the peaks and valleys that are caused by the simple sugars found in junk food. Another thing that's important to note about this is, you hear a lot of people talking about ketogenic diets and, low carb diets. And certainly when people are looking at some of our products and maybe saying, oh, there's a lot of sugar in those things, there's really not, because your brain actually needs the fats and it needs the proteins, but it needs the sugar, because your brain has a need for glucose. And so that glucose has to come from your diet. So really, really important. Sticking to complex carbohydrates, which are found in vegetables, which of course we know the sugar in our shakes is from beets, your whole grains, fruits, that sort of thing. So, you've got your sweet potatoes and that sort of thing. So that's really an important thing to keep in mind. Another thing is keeping stress levels very low. You can buffer your stress with B and C vitamins. These are your feel-good vitamins. Stress bombards everybody. Everybody gets it in their ordinary life. Hectic schedules, angry coworkers, commuting to work in heavy traffic, and a steady stream of cortisol and stress hormones actually weakens those brain cells, that weakens those neurotransmitters. So you want to protect them with vitamins C and B, especially niacin. Now, we have niacin in a lot of our products because it's really a super micronutrient. So it's really important to be getting that. The official minimum daily requirement is pretty low actually for some people, but believe it or not, a lot of people don't get it naturally. So if they're taking their shakes twice a day, they're getting a really great supply of niacin. Another thing that's really, really important is developing, and we're going to go into this a little bit more, but developing a spiritual practice, not being fearful about what's happening in the outside world, not being stressed. And if you do experience stress, having a way to deal with that and having a way to change your mindset. And, that's very, very important and probably very underrated for a lot of people that are studying mental health or that are dealing with mental health issues is the whole idea idea of keeping that fear and that stress away from you, because it actually has physiological effects. So when you add to the fact that many people live on their devices, they stay in, I see a lot of jokes, and I joke about it all the time too, about how, really between Amazon Prime and Facebook, like you don't need to go anywhere. Like you've got everything you need. You can connect with your friends and you can buy everything you need and have it delivered in 2 days. And so it really is kind of an Amazon Prime world. But we as human beings are very social creatures, and we need that connection. We need that touch. It's one of the reasons that we do things like this on Zoom is to see people face to face and be able to interact. And that's really important, to stay connected, especially, flipping to like a business standpoint. If you are feeling that you're not doing as well in your business, it's really important to connect with people that you respect and that can mentor you to really help to change your mindset. So, on that note, I want to talk a little bit about mindset, because it is a busy, busy fall and we have a lot of stuff going on. And I think it's really important that you're able to look at what you're eating, look at what you're drinking, and help to affect those things. But I think it's also important as well to know, to pay attention to what's going into your eyes and your ears. Very, very important to be in control of that. One of the things my pastor talks about all the time is guarding what goes into your eyes and ears. And it might sound a little paranoid, but it's really not when you think about it, because there's so much subliminally that's being fed into our minds constantly. We're constantly on social media. We hear the news. We hear stuff on TV. We hear negativity all around us. People get on their platforms on social media and just, can really just ruin your day almost when you hear some things. And, I hear people all the time saying, I need to unplug from social media. I need to take a Facebook break. And that's probably very true. But if you're not able to control how much you're on there during the day and control how it makes you feel, you do need to step away and take a break. It's very, very healthy, but you should be able to control it on a daily basis, so that you're not thinking, oh, I have to quit cold turkey. Everybody's making me mad. I hate everybody in Facebook land, and I'm stepping away right now. So it's really important. And you laugh, right? But it's true, because sometimes you get on Facebook, and if you're in the wrong mindset and you see something that just sets you off, and you're just like angry typing on the keyboard. And so, those keyboard warriors, right? So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you can be doing to improve your mindset. So one of the first things, and this is something my husband is a big proponent of, when we're talking about the kids that we allow our children to hang out with, is seeking positive friends. Now, this doesn't mean that if somebody's having a problem or is sad, or you're like, oh, no, I can't be friends with you. I can't be friends with you. You need to be happy and joyful all the time. No, that's not what it means at all. But we all know what those people are like that just suck the energy out of us. And I think one of the things that comes with getting older and going through life and understanding that you only have so much time in your day, and you want to make it good time, and you want to make it very you want to make it productive time. And, if you've got that one friend or those couple friends that just suck the life out of you, sometimes it's really important for your mental health to say, I am just going to pull away from this, because this is not serving either of us right now. Or just taking a step back and say, hey, let's talk tomorrow when you're in a better place. So, a negative social circle is going to be an echo chamber for bad ideas. Let me repeat that again. A negative social circle will act as an echo chamber for bad ideas. A positive social circle will also act as an echo chamber, but one that supports your dreams. So you want to choose your friends carefully. Find people who reflect the values we want to adopt. Join groups online and go to networking or social events focused on personal growth. It's one of the reasons why, if you've never been to a personal growth event that Isagenix does, I'm telling you, they do them well. I've been to a lot of personal growth events, and whether you are a business builder or just a product user or somewhere in limbo in between, go to a personal growth event. And I'm going to tell you, UIA, which is University in Action, is one of the best personal growth events that I've ever been to. And I've worked in corporate America, and I've taken courses that have been thousands of dollars, and I'm telling you, for the cost of this, which I think is $200, one of the best personal growth seminars that I have ever been to. So if you can't get out to get to one, definitely enroll in one and get something that you can be actively in weekly, if not daily, to really help to change that mindset. Okay. I'm not suggesting that you ditch friends who are going through a hard time again and need your support, but rather evaluate whether some of your relationships are persistently draining and unhealthy. So that's the first thing that I would say. The second thing I would say is challenge your thoughts. And what I mean by that is, if old thinking comes up, old mindsets, old ways of doing things have come up, and they will, it's not enough to just ignore it. If you ever had that mindset that, maybe something popped up that you haven't had to deal with in many years or even months, and you just say, I'm just going to ignore it and it's just going to go away. And it doesn't go away. We need to challenge our beliefs. Now, let me give you some examples. Like saying, is everything too expensive for you? Or is it just that you can't afford it? Do people suck? Or am I just looking for things to criticize? Weigh your thoughts against the evidence. If they crumble under scrutiny, then explore why you believe them in the first place. By challenging your thoughts, your mindset will begin to evolve. And this is really, really important. When you see other people around you who have a lot of success, and I'm going to tell you something, I follow some of the top performers in Isogenics on social media. And sometimes I have those days where I follow them and I'm like, gosh, I really suck. Look at these people. They're like 15 years younger than me and they're millionaires. But that's not what it's all about. It's not my story. It's their story. And what I am doing by allowing myself to follow them is I'm gleaning all the positivity and all of the experience and all of that. I get that from them. And then I step back and I'm like, okay, what do I need to change about my mindset to get where they are? And so that's really, really important. It's not playing the comparison game. Next, I want to talk about consuming positive media. Okay, remember I told you about that whole watching what goes in your eyes and in your ears? Consuming positive media is very, very, very important because we literally take everything in through osmosis, whether we realize it or not. Okay, positive media is anything that emphasizes the good in life or how to improve our living standards and the living standards of others. Because again, we're in a service-based industry, meaning serving others is really the way to be successful, okay, is putting others first and serving others. We know that the best way to learn a new language is through immersion, right? If you want to learn how to speak French, I'm going to tell you, go to France and try and speak English to those people because they will not speak English to you. First of all, because they don't particularly like Americans, but I'm not even American, I'm Canadian. I speak French, but even when I go to a country that speaks French and mine is a little bit rusty, they kind of look down their nose at you and they're like, yeah, I'm not speaking English to you. I'm going to speak French to you. And that's the best way to learn it is when you're forced, when your hand is forced, and that's what you want to do. You want to immerse yourself in a situation where you are forced to get better. You are forced to do better. If you hear a new language every day, it starts to stick and you remember it. It's the same thing with positive thinking. It's the same thing with success. You need to immerse yourself in it regularly, every day. Mindset is exactly the same. Every day, immerse yourself in personal growth content. It will change the language of your mind. The first day that you listen to, if you've never done this before, the first day that you listen to it, it's going to be like, this stuff is wacky. This is not me. This is psychobabble. This is totally not what I'm all about. And then the second day and the third day, maybe the 10th day, you're like, well, yeah, I remember hearing that on day 2. And then something happens to you in real life and you find yourself responding differently, responding positively to something you wouldn't have responded positively to. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, this stuff works. And it does, it really does, because I'm the first person to tell you I am not into the self-help books and this psychobabble stuff, but being in personal growth every single day, and I try to carve out 15 minutes a day to do personal growth, it really does start to change your mindset. Even if you think you're not applying the principles, you really are. Okay, you seek out what you focus on. Tony Robbins said that once. You seek out what you focus on. If you say, today I'm going to find 100 people that wear red, you're going to find 100 people that wear red. But if at the end of the day you were like, I wonder how many people were wearing brown, could you even recall how many you saw? No, because you weren't focusing on who was wearing brown. You were focusing on who was wearing red. And that's an example he used at Celebration in August. And it was really neat. He told us to look around and then close our eyes and to think of all the people we saw wearing a certain color. And it's very true. You focus on, or you find what you focus on. So figure out what you want to focus on and go find it. Okay. And that's what that's all about. One of the really cool things, again, talking about service, one of the really neat things that you can do to help change your mindset is to volunteer. Volunteering to help others can make a huge impact on how you feel about yourself and your view of the world. And I'll give you an example. You may work full-time and not have time to volunteer. You may say, oh, well, I volunteer at church on Sundays when I teach, or something like that. But maybe you have a gift in something else that you can volunteer for. And I'll give you an example. One of the things that I like to do is it's just something I love to do. Is I really love to do social media graphics, anything new and high tech and new apps and productivity apps. I just love doing that. And as a result, I get a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And rather than saying, oh, well, go read this or go read that, a lot of times I'll take a couple minutes and I'll explain to people how to do it, because I just feel like it's putting good energy back out into the universe. And so that's kind of like, well, I've got 3 kids and I work this business full time. So maybe my volunteer time isn't as abundant as I would like, but I like to try and offer my time up in other ways. And so that's just something that I like to do. So volunteering is just a really great way to put your time out into the universe and serve others. By focusing on how you help someone else, you're going to draw your attention away from yourself. Another very wise thing my pastor once said is, if you ever find yourself depressed, go out and serve others. Because if you can take the focus off of yourself, things don't seem that bad anymore. Okay. And, and again, that's oversimplifying it. But the point is, take the focus off of yourself, because we're a pretty, self-centric society. And so what happens is we like to notice all the things that are good about us, but we tend to notice a lot of things that just, are maybe not as good. And that's okay, but we can't let that drive us, are the things that we wish that we could change about ourselves. Another thing on that same, kind of on the same vein, abstaining from all bad news, war, murder, politics, all of this adds a lot of baggage to your thoughts, a lot. I have a family member who watches a couple of, I don't want to name a particular news, but anyhow, she watches the news all day long. And she also watches a lot of information about doomsday prepping and that sort of thing. And I think it's great to be prepared. I really do. But when I say she watches it all day long, like I'm talking probably like 10 to 15 hours a day, this stuff is running in the background. And guess what it's doing? It's being absorbed into the brain. It's going into her subconscious. And you know what? She actually has quite a spirit of fear about her and paranoia and sadness, that just like there's just nothing good in the world. And so what that stuff does is it's adding all that emotional baggage to our thoughts. And so it really is important that you guard all the things that are going into your brain, and that includes mainstream media. You really want to guard that. I try and get a little bit of bits. One of the things I do is I tend to find out what's the latest and greatest in the news from that little sidebar on Facebook that says what the trending stories are. And I'll just kind of zip through those quickly and be like, okay, I'm all caught up now. And then I'm good. And I don't get a newspaper. I don't go to a newspaper app or anything like that every morning. I know some people like to read the newspaper, and that's okay. But for me, I don't find that a good use of my time. And I don't want to know all of the bad that's happening in the world, because I think there's a lot of good going on as well. And I want to focus on that. I've got kids that I need to bring into this world, and I want to be positive for them. So that's an important thing for me, is to keep that emotional baggage out. Another thing that you can do, and I love this idea as well, is writing out an action plan. This is all about looking at all the possibilities and then doing something to make it happen. Remember that, you find what you focus on, right? Always keep that in mind. You find what you focus on. Forward thinking is going to move your focus away from where you don't want to be to where it could be. It's not enough, but it's not enough to simply write it out, of course, because if it were, we could all make ourselves millionaires today, because we only grow when we take action. So that's a great first step, is writing it down, but you only grow out of your comfort zone when you take action. So it's just a thought until we do something to make it happen. If you don't know what the right steps are, don't worry. It's okay. All you have to do is identify things that you want to do to start on your path. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to volunteer more? Like things that you want to do, just start writing them down, and then things will start to fall into place after that. Even if it's a mistake that you make, you're still going to make progress towards a goal, even if you make mistakes. And that's going to keep you focused on constantly encouraging positive change in your life. One of the things that I talk to my husband a lot about is, not allowing paralysis by analysis. Don't just make lists and grow, and then go back and adjust those lists and cross things off that you've completed, or take things off that aren't going to help you anymore. Not paralysis by analysis. You've got a vision, you've got to grow with it, you've got to move with it. One of the things, and again, this is funny talking about, I made a list of 10 things, by the way, and this is number 7, adopting a healthy lifestyle. Sounds funny, but it really goes without saying. When you feel good, and this is so important, when you feel good physically, you feel good mentally. All you have to do is see how wonderful people feel when they've lost 3 pounds, or when they can get into a pair of jeans they haven't been able to fit into in 10 years, or they go to the store and they're like, I used to be a size 16 and now I'm a size 14 and my scale hasn't budged in forever and I just can't even believe that. I mean, there is nothing. I'm actually getting goosebumps talking about it right now, because when people share their victories with me, oh my goodness, I could never have anticipated when I started using Isagenix that when people would share these victories with me, it would be just as good as though I was experiencing the victory myself. It's unbelievable. It's so amazing how a single text from somebody saying, oh my gosh, I'm 4 months postpartum and I'm into my pre-pregnancy clothes already. And it's like, oh my gosh, because I've been a mom, I've had babies. I know what it's like when when you kind of feel like all just gross and sloppy and big, and you're never going to get back to being young and cute again, and you want to share that with other people. And so of course that healthy lifestyle, if you haven't already figured it out, is a big part of mental health and mental wellness. So that's really, really important. And not just what people are eating, how are they sleeping? What are their activity levels? I think sometimes we talk about how people don't need to exercise on Isagenix to lose weight, and they don't. But you know what? If you're talking to somebody who struggles with mental health issues, or struggles with energy levels, or for example, we're going to be going into winter and some people get seasonal affective disorder, exercise is such a huge part of helping people combat mental stress and mental illness. So that's a really, really important thing to remember, is it's not just the nutrition, but they don't have to exercise. But you know what? If someone's struggling, oh my goodness, there is nothing like telling them to get out there and walk a mile a day, 2 miles a day, 3 miles a day, to really get the feel-good ball rolling. Number 8 on my list, and this is something that's actually on my action list that I need to do more often, is sending thank you notes. Okay, it's a small gesture, but it's something that you don't have to do just if someone sends you a gift or comes to a birthday party or they come to a housewarming party or they did something nice for you. Just sending a thank you note to somebody who has inspired you or empowered you. Or of course, if they've given you something, that goes without showing, but those small gestures of kindness go a lot further because they make you feel good and they make the receiver feel good. It doesn't matter what they did. Again, any small gesture, good service, do a favor, they said something particularly positive that really inspired you or helped pull you out of a slump you were having one day, or, just anything at all. But sending a thank you note to help make someone else's day, it's a great way to, again, just improve that positive mindset. Because if you wake up in the morning thinking, who can I bless today? Who can I serve today? And maybe no one pops to mind. So you say, I'm just going to write out some thank you notes and I'm going to send them to people just because. Those just because gestures go so far to improve mental wellness. All right, so my number 9 is creating a morning mindset routine. Very, very important. Not only just for positive, healthy mindset, but also the most successful people in business, no matter what they do, have an early morning mindset routine. A great way to start the day is by making a mental list of each thing that you're looking forward to. Some people, I know Kelly uses a gratitude journal. Some people do a devotional in the morning. Some people meditate. I know I've heard Susan Sly talk about how she meditates in the morning. Whatever you do, taking that time to wake up when your mind is clear and you can just focus on something positive and just start your day with, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of just clearing your mind and bringing that positive mindset in and really manifesting that positive mindset. And everybody's different because like, I'll tell you, for me, I don't do as well with just a quiet, with quiet surroundings. I actually like to blast music. I love loud music, and I love loud dance music. I love Latin music. I love just stuff that really gets me peppy and makes me want to dance, because I'm a former ballerina. And that's a big thing. Now I can't blast music at 4:30 in the morning. So I put my headphones in and I listen to music, and that really just helps to get me upbeat. I can feel my heartbeat coming up. It's probably my coffee as well. But just taking that time in the morning to get yourself into a positive mindset, because then when my kids wake up, I feel like I'm ready to go and I've accomplished something, and that's it. Let's just take on this day. So having that established routine in the morning is really important. Some people do things like watching a personal growth video or listening to an audiobook, focusing on those positive messages. And there's tons of apps and podcasts where you can do that. Find the one that fits your groove and make it something that you do every single morning, because your work will get done more quickly and it will not seem so hard either when you go at it with a positive mindset. So the last thing that I have, my number 10, is to write a wins checklist. Okay, so you started your day on a great note. Finish it on a great note by making a mental list of the day's wins, or make a written note. If you've got a notebook that you use on a daily basis, write down today's wins. This is what I won at today. That's really important because, we need that gratification. We need to know what we've done, because that helps us get through the next day. That helps us power through the tough times. And especially if you've had a bad day, it's really important to say, this was what I won at today. Not keeping track of what you lost at today, because you do want to do that because you want to help yourself improve, but don't dwell on them. It's going to kill your motivation and your momentum. You finish strong, and it's going to be much easier to wake up feeling happy. And it would also prevent you from sitting there feeling worried and keeping that stuff in your head that's going to prevent you from falling asleep at night, because again, we know that sleep is so important. So anyhow, so those are all of the things that I have, as far as, diet, nutrition, and then also kind of that positive mindset stuff to contribute to mental health. And again, a lot of this stuff I pulled from just studies that have been coming out of the naturopathic and homeopathic world in the last couple of months. Hope it helps. If you didn't take notes, you probably want to go back and listen to the recording. Do we have any questions before I cut the recording short? You're all on mute, so if you have a question, you'll need to unmute yourself.
I have a question. It's Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
I don't think this pertains to, let me go back to my notes, to tonight's topic, but if we could, you said about carbs and how we need them, because it was in one of the vitamins talks that you just did. And so I've been struggling with like my midsection weight loss. And when I went on a call with Dr. Ina, she said to cut out carbs. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm really struggling with where to get that more protein in. And like I said, it might not be on tonight's call, but I'm just not sure where to go. If I'm supposed to cut carbs, where do I get my protein or my filler in, so to speak?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you can add protein without adding carbs.
Right, but I don't know where to get that from.
Oh, okay.
Other than eating chicken all the time. Like I eat chicken and broccoli, and I know vegetables, but I'm like, what else could I have? Because I'm hungry.
One of the things you may want to do is add Isopro. Make all of your shakes.
I have.
You do?
I have. Mm-hmm.
You're doing Isopro in both of your shakes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Are you hungry? Is that the problem? You feel hungry?
I'm not bored. I cannot lose the fat that I still have around my midsection. Right. And like I said, this might not be the right phone call, but that was my question, because you had mentioned carbs, and I'm like, well, I cut out my sweet potato and my quinoa. I cut that out, and she said to do it for 9 days. But then I still don't see results. Like even when I did the bedtime belly buster, I added the Isopro. So I've tracked it on MyFitnessPal. Mm-hmm. And when MyFitnessPal says I still have to eat like 900 calories and it's 3:00 in the afternoon,
right.
Like I'm like, what do I do? So I guess it's just food for thought. I didn't mean that as a pun, but
I know. So maybe we talk about that. Maybe we talk about targeting that mid. I mean, now granted, you can't really target any area of the body, but maybe we can talk about that, and that can be the topic for a future call for sure.
Right. And just like I've heard, because I've been doing some research. Like I'm 46, so I know that metabolism slows down, but I still lift weights, and I teach cycle every week. So I don't know where to go, and that's just something.
And,
you know.
And I'm not saying that there isn't more that you can be doing, but one of the things too that I think we as women have to be very give ourselves a little bit of grace in that. My husband and I were just talking about this the other day when we were talking about ideal percentages of body fat on men and women, and we're built with more fat. I mean, and it as we get older, it does increase, and there's definitely things that I think that you can probably be doing, and I think it's great that you talked about that, because I think it's probably the number one thing that if you ask any woman what on your body would you want to target if you could, they're going to say their tummy. And especially as we start to get older and you get into your 40s or you've had kids and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to lose this. And so yeah, we can definitely, I think that's a great idea to do something that focuses on melting the muffin top. Yeah.
And like, it's not, and this is not all about me, and I'm sorry, but it's not just a muffin top. Like I have the love handles too. Like it's that section that I can't do anything. I don't know what it is.
Well, and I'll say one more thing, and then we'll take it offline for another call. But one of the things, do you do a lot of cardio? Because a lot of cardio is tough. I've for some people, it causes them to hang on to weight.
No, I don't. I don't really do a lot of cardio. Okay. Like I said, it like a solid hour, I spin an hour a week.
That's not a lot.
It's not a lot. I lift at least twice a week. I'm a teacher, so I'm walking a lot, but that's really I'm not breaking a sweat or anything. Right. I'm not a runner. So I don't know if it's something I need to add to. I know that we have a program that doesn't have to have exercise, but it's still a struggle. Like I'm solid except there.
Right. No, I think it's a great thing that you asked about that, because you're not alone, and there are probably wouldn't be as frank about their struggles, and so I appreciate you sharing. I think that's great. So
well, thanks.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely something we can talk about. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm gonna make a note about that. No problem. Anybody else have any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, you said there's folate in our shakes?
Yes. Well, it's folic acid.
It's what?
Folic acid.
Okay, so is it the daily recommended value of that? Of the folic acid?
Let me tell you right now. I had
because I'm on a prenatal vitamin, and I know that it's folic acid, which is fake, right? You want the folate.
So
I don't want, it's because the folic acid, that's synthetic, right?
Yeah, so the shakes have folic acid. So if you want methylfolate, then you should be taking a methylfolate supplement, because the shakes are folic acid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need more than what's in the shake.
So there's a guy who catches 6 or 7 passes.
I know it's kind of a strange question. Yes. Alec, can you lower that real quick?
I think it's really it's dependent on, I think, what your individual needs are. Folate is 80% of the folic acid is in our shake. I will get back to you on the information for that. I'm pretty sure it's folic acid, because it's either folic acid or methylfolate, and I don't think it's methylfolate. And so if you want methylfolate, you need to take a methylfolate supplement. I was just talking, I think, to the nutritionist about this recently, because some people have issues with folic acid, and so they have to take a separate supplement.
Okay. Sorry, that was a random question.
No, because we were talking about
that. But that's all.
It wasn't random at all.
Yeah. All right, that's it for me.
Anyone else? Good. Okay. Well, then I'm going to stop recording here. Hold, give me a second.